Hi, I'm Mike Stanton. It's July 15th. This is the BAM Weekly Muni Market Update. I'm here with Grant Dewey from BAM's Capital Markets Desk. Grant, thanks for being here this week. As we said in last week's update, the most important economic data of the month came out this week. The CPI for June was published on Wednesday, and it was for the second consecutive month that came in hot, over a 9.1% annualized rate, surprising to the upside versus expectations of 8.8%. Yet when we look back at the week, not a huge price move in the bond markets. What did you see?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the headline came out. I think both equities and treasuries traded off quite a bit. I think initially the fear is, does the Fed look at a 100 basis point move? They next meet on July 27th in a couple weeks, and but I think there was some follow-up, and I think 75 basis points is probably still the expectation, which is consensus. So I think that there was a fair amount of stability to the market, more than you might expect given the headline CPI numbers.
And there was a lot of other data coming out suggesting that maybe commodity prices certainly have started to fall, that maybe this is near the peak for this cycle.
If you look a month ago, the 10-year approached a 350. We're now like a 292 right now. So rates have definitely been trending lower. I think Bank of America put out a report calling for kind of a bull flattener, thinking that the Muni curve will continue to flatten, and they're actually recommending investors kind of going out the curve a little bit for total return. So I think that to a certain degree, you've seen the 10-year. Possibly peak. The other big story for Munis is, not surprisingly, July continues to kind of bring more stability to the Muni market. You've got, the supply demand is in much better balance. You had, helped by kind of heavy seasonal bond redemptions, treasury rates, as I mentioned, trending lower, and fund flows turned positive for the week ending Wednesday, just the third time since February that we've seen that. So munis are in much better shape. Ratios are trending lower, back more towards historical norms, and I think just a healthier market, and we should see pick up, I think, in new issuance as a result. Last week was a good week for BAM. We wrapped a total of 560 million bonds in the primary, and the secondary that was kind of headlined by a Bank of America deal, which was 270 million Miami-Dade school district GO, and then we also run a pair of Kentucky competitive deals, one 42 million Eastern Kentucky University and a $73 million Woodford, Kentucky school district, which had a state intercept feature.
And both of those transactions came from Huntington Securities. The two big ones, Miami-Dade and Woodford County School District, both of them were in the competitive market. What does it say that those big transactions were choosing to use bond insurance?
I think I think the base case for a lot of for a lot of economists is that we could enter kind of a mild recession. So I think that in that scenario you could see credit spreads, a little bit of pressure on credit spreads. No one expects kind of any kind of dramatic widening, but I think typically if we are in a low growth scenario, you could see credit spreads widen out a little bit. They have remained pretty resilient through the first half of the year, despite the fact that we have much higher rates.
And so just wrapping it up, looking ahead to the next week, a little over $9 billion of total supply coming into the market in the primary market next week. What are you watching?
I think, I think we're watching for what we've been seeing here the last few weeks, which is, much more receptive market to new issues. So the market is clearly open again for business. We continue to see an uptick, as you mentioned, just in insurance penetration.
And I know looking in the BAM insured calendar, there are a couple of transactions that we've been watching for a while. The city of Mesa, Arizona has a refunding for the water and sewer utility coming in, $56 million. That's being priced by Piper Sandler next week. Also expecting to see Fort Wayne Redevelopment Authority, $33 million transactions from Stiefel. And I know there are more transactions on the competitive calendar, some other outstanding bids. So we'll see where the final insurance volume comes out next week. Thanks for being with us this week, Grant. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mike.